Squander all your coins from the wishing well, an oasis of riches in your poor hell. It's a beggar's life, you can't take any longer. You want the satin on your back, but no more longer, no.
You always have to be worried that he has the power to knock you out in one punch.
Yeah, I'm gonna win this fight.
Well, the oceans are rising, the sun smiles at us dying.
So I feel like my cardio is good, my weight's on point, hands feel fast, my grappling's feeling really good.
Of all of your family. Now the sky.
He's very, very difficult to beat once he really gets going. And especially if you get him upset, you're really looking at something very strong.
When the sky's taking bites out of you. The sky's taking bites out of you and me.
I think he's a pro. I mean, he deserves to be where he's at right now.
For us to drown in that violent sea. So we can cook us with the rest of it.
If you're defeated in here, you're done.
Yeah, I'm gonna win this fight.
Now we're all just drowning in the boiling sea. We're all just drowning in the boiling sea. We're all just...
Any other rhythm? Touch them up right here, let's show it.
First pro fight, I think I built up my opponent in my head a little too much. I was worried about what he was doing more than I was worried about me, and then I, was very nervous about it. It was just
The last fight, a year ago January, was one of the scariest moments of my life.
His first pro fight with Jason Lee, that one still kind of gets under my skin a little bit. It really bothers me. Not so much that he lost, we know this type of thing happens, but how he lost, that I really thought he got hurt. It must have taken me under a second to get that changed a little bit.
Yes, one of his friends tried to, do the t-shirts, do like all this stuff, got like tons of people from where we grew up to come and watch, so put a lot more stress on Todd.
He was out. I mean, I can't watch it still. I mean, he slowly fell in my mind, and he didn't move for what felt like eternity. And then I was standing at the front of the stage on the floor just waiting to see if he would move. People were surrounding him. I didn't even see a toe move, so it was incredibly scary. And one of the first words to him, as soon as they let me go backstage really quick, because I'm not supposed to be back there, because he could get suspended, which makes total sense, obviously. Joking. But one of the first words down there when I got to see him was, "Don't you fucking do that again."
going pro and fighting a guy that I thought was, higher caliber opponent, and just, the big stage and, all the pressure about, because I'd been undefeated as an amateur, but...
Of course they were fun, because you're like, yeah, watching that guy that you don't know get his butt kicked, or, but then when you kind of on the opposite side of it, and you see like a family member getting hurt, well, sorry.
That's okay, do you want a minute?
It was a good learning experience, and I think that if, I got knocked out in 30 seconds, but I think if I could have, avoided that and win, I think I would have been done fine.
My experience with Todd as an amateur fighter is, Todd is what would be the adult version of a very good college athlete. And that's kind of what an amateur is to me, is somebody that does it as an extracurricular activity that fits into their work life. And so Todd is one of the top amateurs in the state of Colorado. He's very, very difficult to beat once he really gets going. Switching over to pro changes gears. Todd, as a professional athlete, is a great example of somebody that has responsibilities other than fighting to take care of. And this can be a complication, but it's also a good thing.
Biggest obstacle going amateur to pro was, the 5-minute rounds. I think were the big killer, going from 3 to 5-minute rounds. I remember the day we decided, well, we're taking my first pro fight, and so he was like, all right, you're pro, and he threw me on 5-minute round, 1-minute station, for 5 minutes, and just killed me, and eventually I got used to him, but it was really good, and then a couple rule changes like knees to the head, which I got knocked out by in my fight. But just that, and elbows were a new thing. But other than that, nothing. Just trying to be more professional about everything too.
Sideways. Good. Good. Bring it back in. So you don't want to get caught up in that back and forth here, and you here, and your elbows do main now. Okay? Once you get right back. Hit, right back. Rotate back. Rotate back. Rotate back. Rotate back. Slow down.
When Todd and I first met, when we were student teaching at Fruita Monument High School, up in Grand Junction, Fruita, Western Slope, Colorado.
If you get the story from me, we actually met on St. Patrick's Day at a bar. I was there with a friend of mine, and she came with some of her softball teammates who I'd known one or two of them, and we danced a little bit that night, nothing big, but we'd met then, and then fast forward, I think a year or so later, we ended up student teaching at the same school, fall of 2004, and she didn't remember meeting me that night, but I remembered her. And
he offered to teach me how to snowboard, and we kind of hung out a little bit, but I was pretty serious about, I had a rough class, and so
I would say, hey, tell Miss Dean. I said hi, because her last name used to be Dean, and so he would go and pick up the attendance in her room and say, hi, Todd says hi, and all this, and it would interrupt her classes. She had a rough class that hour, and so it always kind of got them off task, so she kind of shunned me.
the kids found out that we were hanging out, and then they would come and interrupt in my class, and so I kind of ignored him actually for about 3-4 months. And then he called me up and said, hey, I want to take you snowboarding. And I said, okay. And that's kind of where things started.
I had promised her a couple months before, like when we first started, I would teach her how to snowboard. So came November, December, I called her up and said, hey, do you want to still go snowboarding? And she was actually my first student because I was going to be a snowboard instructor.
We dated long distance because I moved back to Denver. We dated long distance for 1.5 years, meeting to go snowboard. I'd go up there, he'd come down here.
And he'd always call me when I was up in college and say, hey, I really like this girl. And so I'd kind of give him some tips, or at least, try and help him out. And then for my college graduation, he brought her out. And I don't know, and then we moved in together and things just kind of started going from there. Now I talk to her at least once a week. And
I ended up hanging out for a couple days with her, and she lived with her parents, so I'd stay over there with her parents and her. Then I went back to Grand Junction where I was living at the time, and got really drunk one Friday night and didn't know where we stood. When I left Denver, I didn't know if we were in a relationship, if we were together, what we were doing. I wanted to know because I just don't like trying to figure that out. So I got really drunk and said, I love you and I want to have 1,000 babies with you, and don't, because she was actually thinking about the time moving to Illinois because she has an aunt and uncle out there and they pay teachers better than Colorado out there, so she thought she was going to go there. And so I begged her to stay, and then after that we've been together. And then
together in the summer, fall of '06, and proposed by November while we were snowboarding one day, and it's been together ever since.
Get him to bend forward a little bit. Good.
Fuse box mixed martial arts is, well, it's a mixed martial art, but we have a core base in Russian Sambo instead of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but what I mean by the core base is this. Most styles are going to be practicing BJJ and Thai boxing, but those are not seamless. Sambo is kind of a seamless-based sport created in 1901, which is already a mixed martial art. So we practice the fundamentals from the ground to submission, or from standing to submission in a seamless form. 2 hand grabs.
Good.
My thoughts about Russian Sambo, I really like it because I think it translates better with the MMA like a little bit because it's more combative.
Right there. That's the beginning.
Around 1990, I got introduced to John Giddick, who then started bringing Russian combat experts, all the way from generals to lower-ranked guys, but masters of sports even in Russian combat sambo, over to America, who trained me, and then I actually retrained them on a lot of things.
You know, so I think it just really translates real well with a lot of things we're doing. And I like it because it's a different style than everybody else is training, so when I go against other people, they don't know what's coming. So we have a pretty good relationship. You know, he busts my balls a lot about, you know, maybe not training, and just, you know, I got a lot of family life stuff going on, or, you know, family and stuff to take care of. But
Todd, as a professional athlete, is a great example of somebody that has responsibilities other than fighting to take care of. And this can be a complication, but it's also a good thing.
And he's, you know, eager to get me up in the ranks and you know, get me, you know, well-rounded as a fighter.
And I worked on stage on it, one-liners, and I was down in the orange hot,
I'm a certified teacher with the professional teacher license in K-12 physical education and secondary social studies.
What Todd has is a full-time career. He's a teacher. He's an upstanding guy. He's a great role model for kids and adults alike. And so training him around his life is kind of what we have to do. And that proves to be a challenge as well as an honor to actually be able to train somebody that's intelligent and has other options.
This last March, I was cut due to budgets, just the state budget crisis or whatever. You know, they had X amount of students and they only needed X amount of teachers, and so I was the one that got told to let go.
And there's so many applicants per job in Colorado that it's hard to even go on to the next round. But Todd's been lucky enough that he's interviewed. He just didn't get the job. He was like the first 2 choices or the second choice, but you know, they take the first one.
So it's been a challenge, but we eat at home a lot and don't go out, and when we do go out we have fun, but we're pretty money conscientious. But he needs to do what he's got to do, and the nice thing about being unemployed is he gets unemployment and can train 2-3 times a day, and that works out well for this.
But a lot of fighters, they don't really have anything else going for them, unfortunately. I hope it didn't make all of you angry, but it's you don't see a lot of responsibility in some of their lives, and I hear complaints that they might have to go out and get a real job and things like this, and I'm not understanding when they talk to me like this. I don't understand. What do you mean you have to go get a real job? Of course you do. This isn't
Try to
bad.
just shake him down.
That might work, especially if he's real tight. Get on there tight.
You know,
But you know, I might try to, you know, just shake if he's high. That might. Or you can shake, and then
Still been coaching over in that district, coaching middle school football and middle school wrestling right now, and you know, just, you know, on unemployment, but you know, I'm training, and I'm hoping maybe that, you know, this is my opportunity to become more of a fighter, you know, full-time fighter. Well, I took a year off because after my fight, I was on a medical suspension through the boxing commission. So that put me to like April, and I wanted to get a fight like in May, but it just didn't work out. And I went to Italy for the whole month of June, so I enjoyed my time over there, ate the great food and the great wine, and saw everything, and just enjoyed that. And so when I got back, I had to get back in shape, so that took a little bit of time, and then we tried to get something on in October for me, but that didn't work out either. And then just this was the first fight that just worked out, and it happened to be same place as my last one, and almost exactly the day a year later, so kind of ironic in that regard.
Good one, Tom. Good. That's okay. Oh, sorry.
People just say they call me dangerous. I'm coming back, and it's going to be better than ever because this guy's only going to have a minute and 30 seconds, and that's all he's getting. He has 15 minutes by regulation, but a minute and 30 by myself. Nobody's friend before we fight. You could say poor sport, but that's not the exact words I would use. I'm just really timid. Like, not timid, I make them feel it. Like, I want them to feel timid at me. I want them to just be discouraged and not be able to train right because they're worried about what I'm doing. I fought this guy named Goshorn, and I've seen him fight a few times, and he was just beating people up left and right, and I was like, that's the guy I want to fight. Someone that wants to hurt somebody, because I like that. I like that mentality.
Todd's not a real mean guy. He's not one of those guys that's just a killer. We have those here in town that if they weren't fighting in the ring, they'd be in some bar fighting. Todd's not that guy. Like I said before, he's a good example of a person in this sport that can actually clean it up. Todd's got a big future ahead of him if he continues to go forward in this and take it seriously.
Honestly, I met Derek about 5 years ago. I actually recruited him to our gym. I just saw a tenacity and a drive and determination as a fighter that you don't see in a lot of these guys that are gifted. They might be gifted physically, but mentally and just have that heart and that drive to win, you just don't see it. And when you see that, you just go after these guys and make sure that you don't lose them. And I just see the dedication and the drive that he's back and he wants to make a statement. This is kind of for both of them. They both had a long layoff. One's coming off a severe knockout, and one's coming off a long layoff for personal reasons. And they're going to meet in there and try to put it on a good show for the Paramount.
What do I know about my opponent?
He's a school teacher or something like that.
My opponent is Derek Morales.
He does sambo.
He's a little bit shorter than I am.
He does salsa dancing. I'm not no one's friend before the fight. After the fight, maybe I'll go meet his students, tell him sorry for beating him up.
He usually fights around, at a 170s or a catchweight.
They might need a substitute teacher because I don't know, but
he's a southpaw when striking.
That's just my attitude right now. Maybe after we can go have dinner or something. Apparently he's concerned with my hands, so he hired himself a boxing coach, which really doesn't scare me because he can throw his rights and his lefts. He'll just get taken down right there. So that's all I need, one takedown.
I know from what I've seen in video, he seems to be more of a wrestler, looking for the takedown. He's won a couple, rear naked choke seems to be one of his go-tos. So I'd say his strengths are his takedowns for sure. He does seem to take down everybody that I've seen on video.
I'm 100% for my first takedown. Never missed the first takedown.
I've seen the ground game of the gentleman that we're fighting, and I'm not real impressed. It's people that I've seen him fight. It seems to be a scramble. It's almost like a 1970s fight movie. You know, when the people are rolling around by the trash can and they get them out and they give it up to roll to their side. This kind of thing. Now, I'm not saying that he's not a capable person, but I'm saying that there's a lack of discipline in his ground game.
You know, I'm not a Muay Thai specialist, I'm not a Jiu-Jitsu specialist, I'm none of those specialists. I'm a wrestling specialist and I'm a fighting specialist, which means I don't care what you do or who you are, I will fight you to the finish, that's it. I'm going to fight freestyle fight, which means I'm going to do whatever I have to do to win this fight.
There's not a solid exposition of Jiu-Jitsu, Sambo, wrestling, Judo. None of this stuff is very solid in his core foundation, and we look to take advantage of that.
The goals tonight, number one, is just to win. I want to get that first pro win, and then go from there. And I want to, I really want to look good doing it, but I can't have a preference about how the fight's going to go. None of my fights have ever went the way I want them to. So there's, I've learned it's not going to happen that way. So don't worry about it. Just take the victories, take the opportunities when I get them, and finish the fight. That's what I want to do, is finish too.
What Todd needs to focus on the win is the same thing that everybody needs to focus on. His Sambo. I'm joking. It's what's inside of his mind. If you're defeated in here, you're done. And typically we know if an athlete's beat before they walk out into the gate. We'll know weeks ahead of time. If they've done everything that they can to defeat themselves, we'll know.
This fight camp has entailed a lot of things, just MMA. We've been working technical grappling, working a lot of different striking, and just rounding out my game a little bit more. Just trying to fine-tune things that I could be better at.
Todd's fight camp right now, again, it's working around his responsible work schedule. And I make myself as available as I can to work with them. But what we have to do at Todd at this point with this particular opponent that we're facing is just get him into shape. Todd needs to be in shape. Since I don't handle all of his training, for me it's a little nerve-wracking when we step up to the plate and I'm like, man, I didn't see you do a push-up, because he's doing it elsewhere. What I know about his next opponent is I think that he's right-handed but actually left-handed. And so what we're trying to do is change up some of his combinations and his reactions to large right-hand kind of haymaker swings or hooks. We need to change that reaction, because oftentimes orthodox against unorthodox fighters, the unorthodox fighter takes an advantage in the way the fight comes out, because the orthodox fighter is unfamiliar with this unorthodox approach. So Todd himself, he's been working a lot on trying to become more finesseful on the ground. And a lot of people get on the ground, they get into what I kind of call a zombie head squeezing contest, and they're trying to figure out who's the strongest. But the fact of the matter is our species isn't strong enough to squeeze each other to death, so it's just a wasted output of energy. Todd was the kind of guy that kind of used that wrestling base to dominate people when he would begin his fight. And we're trying to get him to understand that you're not always going to have that kind of energy. And you're going to sometimes be exhausted, and you're going to need to be more passive. And so this is where we apply the BJJ, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, into this. And we apply his wrestling combined with Sambo on the takedowns and on the stand-up. And doing these things together, we have a pretty complete athlete. And so we need to make sure that we have our takedown defenses solid.
And the takedown to submission or takedown to control for the strike. Well, one or the other. It should be takedown to something active other than just holding him inside. Okay, let's refine that takedown a little bit for you, Zach.
And then we have our basic foundation solid.
I've been told by a professional boxer, Abel Perry, who watched one of my videos, and I thought it was a great compliment. He said I'm a fight-time fighter. I'm pretty calm in the gym or wherever, but when it came time to strap it on, I could pick it up. So I think that's one of my strengths. Just being a fight-time fighter, and I think one of my strengths is just my wrestling. I think my striking is just as good or better. I think I hit hard. I'm strong.
You're so fucking strong, dude.
And then, being dominant on the ground, maybe not submission-wise, which I feel might be sort of my weaknesses, is my submission game. I don't have a well-rounded. I can get a couple of things here and there, but I'm not a lot of things. My strategy going into this fight is to
you know, to stuff his takedowns if that's what he's going to do. I mean, he's been off for a couple years now too, so I don't know if his training or his game plans have changed. But if he's looking for that takedown, that's my, you know, stuff that and make him stand and bang with me. If we go to the ground, I'm going to, you know, take whatever advantage I can there too.
To be honest, I mean, this is not a hard thing for me to say. It's my conditioning. It's hard for my conditioning. I'm a sprinter. You know, I like to go 100 miles per hour. If I could stay that pace the whole fight, then I would win every single fight. But the point is, your body's not built to go 100 miles per hour for the whole thing. You know, it's not that big of a deal though. You only get 1 minute 30 seconds.
Because he's coming off a long layoff. Before he was, you know, he'd fight every month, and you know, a little bit of layoff to kind of just get some personal things together and find himself as a person, and you know, get focused in again. Just come January 27th, I mean, this is going to be a huge card, and kind of Derek's coming out party again. So, he said we're winding down fight camp, so you know, now it's just focusing on making weight and stepping in the cage and putting on a show.
You know, my strategy is just to win. There's no actual game plan because everything changes once that door locks.
Derek's a gamer, so you know, fight camp or no fight camp, once he steps in the cage, he just puts his heart in it. And it's pretty much, you know, two-man kind of mentality, and one man leaves. His teammates prepare physically. I try to do the preparation mentally. You know, try to keep his mind off everything else. You know, fight in front of 3,000 plus people. The lights are on. You're on the stage. It's you know, the second professional all-pro card in, you know, the state of Colorado. So it's a pretty big venue, pretty big thing, and especially coming off a long layoff. You know, just stay within yourself.
If you're a better fighter than me, hats off to you, but it's going to be hard to put me down. I don't really have a strategy. I just want to see his look in his eyes, and I just want him to feel like inferior to me, like just really timid of me, just like, who the hell is this kid? Where is he coming from? Like, this kid looks like he just walked out of an alley, because basically I did walk out of an alley, and he's going to get it like that. That's how it's going to happen. I'm going to take some of that to the fight, and I feel sorry for the teacher, but, you know, I'm a sub too, so if they want me to, you know,
to me, MMA can be, especially mostly on the beginning levels, kind of a white trash head bashing competition between two guys that suck to find out which one sucks the least. And then that's the winner. And Todd's not that guy. He really tries to work his discipline and come in and train and do the things that he needs to do to maybe one day be a miraculous pro.
Derek's fight camps consist of about 8 weeks, and we've cranked it up. We're starting to level off now as it gets, you know, 1 week away from the fight. It's been everything from, you know, stand-up and sparring rounds, bringing in multiple guys to come in and spar with him and try to mimic Todd Meredith as much as we can. But we've done a lot of wrestling, brought in a few different ensemble guys. Just bigger guys. I mean, Derek's actually going up a weight class to take this fight at 85 instead of where he fights at 70. So just having him roll with bigger guys and just kind of getting different looks. But other than that, it's just been a basic, you know, basic fight camp preparation, just technique as well as cardio. You know, with limited footage, film-wise, and you know, seeing Todd fight, it's kind of hard to prepare for that guy and find a guy that's exactly that guy. But we've done the best that we can. Focus on your strengths. You know, you really can't train for him. You got to train for yourself. You got to fight your fight. Inevitably, you know, he's going to do what he's going to do. You just got to execute on what you're going to do.
Boxing or wrestling, you got cauliflower too. CrossFit's great for MMA because of the unpredictability of the workouts, doing a lot of body weight stuff, but also doing weights and going from one to the next and pushing yourself to either get your best time or as many rounds of a workout as you can in a certain amount of time.
Anything and everything that can be used for functional movement is brought in and used as part of the cross-training, the general physical preparation.
It crosses over, I think, real well to MMA versus just like a regular bodybuilding type workout where you're just working one muscle group at a time trying to get bigger and more symmetrical. So I think it just translates better into the MMA world.
Pay attention to your footwork. Pay attention to your head. Are you leaning out? Are your feet flush together? Easy, people. 1, 2, pull back out. 1, 2, catch. 1, 2, back in. What? Up. You're in tight. You're in tight. Stay out. Stay outside.
Nice, Todd.
Don't turn your hips. Women turn their hips to things. Hips into it. Go.
Well, when they did mine.
Yeah.
So last night about 4 or 5 o'clock I stopped drinking water, stopped eating food, went and worked out. Went home, did my thing, whatever, didn't eat, drink anything last night, and then got up today, hung out, and then about 2 o'clock I went to the sauna and did a 20-minute segment in the sauna, checked my weight, I lost about 2 pounds. I was 189 before I got in the sauna. It was high 187 after the first 20 minutes, and then did another 10 minutes and then was about 187 on the dot. And we quit there hoping that I'm gonna drift or float naturally the last couple pounds. My body is just gonna evaporate water and all that through breath and perspiration or whatever. We're hoping that I lost that by time weigh-ins. I want to check here soon. They'll let us get on the scale hopefully soon and check, see if I can do anything else before then. I just want to point out that weigh-ins are supposed to start at 7, and I want to point out it's 7:20. My opponent's not here yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this pro MMA prize fight in the middleweight division. Please welcome to the scale, Todd Meredith. Representing Goosebumps.
Okay.
Excuse us, guys. Todd.
186. 186 even. Please welcome to the scale, Dangerous Derek Morales. From Denver, Colorado, looking for his second pro victory, representing Ground Zero, former KOC champion. 185.5. Gentlemen, knuckle up.
And whatever intenses, that's all well and good, but regardless of that.
If I ever walk into a fight with Jewish, just like Something wrong.
Yeah, your opponent's too easy. Use your thumb. Take top position. Get on top. Ride it heavy. Take the wind out of it. And as long as you're using your weight when you're doing yard work, as long as you're using the top.
And then I think we're meeting at Fuse Box around 10:30. Go over just a few things, just light workout, then rest, get picked up, and then head down, and then get my hands wrapped because I'm the second fight. Get checked in with the doctor, all that, and then get warmed up and get ready to kick ass. Got my walkout shirt. Sponsors. Fancy fabric, nice and soft. So today I got up. My bladder decided to wake me up about 4:30 in the morning, and then my head started going, thinking things, and so I ended up getting up, going to the bathroom, and then getting some water. I was thirsty and had, I think, a banana, and I think I took some vitamins because I've been flushing out a lot of nutrients with my overdose of water the last few days. Katie, my sister. Roy and I, Roy's her husband, wish you luck tonight. Be safe, be focused, and only worry about what you have to do and not everyone else.
Okay, let me
I'll
take
eat
it.
the banana, but
You want me
sneak
to
that
stuff this like down my shirt or something?
in your purse.
But if they search my purse,
Don't worry about that.
we'll just sneak in
We'll put this in the
one
car.
on each side and maybe even it out.
Yeah. Just a lot of unknown. I don't know what he's gonna do for sure. I think he's gonna come out and try to take me down and all that, but then I hear he might want to try and stand with me too. So I don't know. I just want a mouthpiece. Cup.
Strap. Boxing gloves.
Boxing gloves.
Shorts.
Shorts.
Fake gloves.
I didn't. They're providing them.
Okay. Well, yeah. I just left you.
Yeah.
Another shorts.
Clothes for after. Water. I think I got a coconut water.
You have a gallon of water?
No.
Bring a big jug of water.
Well, I got a
Case.
heater, and then I'm gonna keep drinking that too.
I'll carry it for you. Alright. Just be sure.
This water's better. I got another one of these. How about that?
That's fine.
But I gotta get that out because I can't control that. I control what I do, so I just gotta do that. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I was, just nervous, but the butterflies are kind of settling down right now. I lost my last fight, I think, in the most worst fashion that really can happen, and I need to remember that that's happened. I'm over it. We're moved on. I need to go have fun and just be relaxed and not be so nervous. I was really uptight last time, and I want to just enjoy it a little bit more and stuff. So I'm trying to get that mindset.
All right, guys. Good luck.
All right, brother. See you.
Yeah, I know I've done the work, and I know I'm going to give him a tough fight. So I just want to be able to do that. I want the opportunity to do that.
shout out, congratulations to my man Todd. Hey, good job. He got that win tonight. He's out here celebrating. That's right, he's gonna have many more wins too.
What's next for me in MMA? I don't know. I'm catching wind that there's a Ring of Fire, which is one of the biggest shows here in Colorado. It's been kind of a goal of mine to get on one of their shows at the First Bank Center or Broomfield Bank Center.
What is the deal?
I'd like to get some sort of title, probably a local one. It'd be kind of cool, or be a main event. Would be something I would like to do. And then just work from there. And I know I have a big. I would love to be like in UFC, Strikeforce, those big. That's a goal. But it takes all these. I had to win last night, win the next one, and get better from last night till the next one, and just get better with each one.
Michael, they have taken you away. For you stole Trevalian's corn, so our young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay.